What's up, everybody? Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we gotta talk about the fact that Jett got reverted, or the accidental nerfs actually got rolled back, even though we were not expecting that until patch 3.09, if not at all. So we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna break it down. Go to the GameLeap website right now for in-depth tips and tricks, VOD reviews, map guides, agent courses. We got it on the GameLeap website, so you absolutely gotta go check it out right now down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, we've recently talked about the silent nerf, or the bug that went around in patch 3.08 that not only made it so that there was a longer pullout time on your weapon with Jett's dash, updraft was also increased 50 credits to 200 credits. Now, as of the patch that got hotfixed last night, it is no longer the case. Jett's dash now is back to normal, so you can dash aggressively again. For those of you who play Jett and those of you who are up against Jett, know that Jetts are now going to be far more aggressive and they can do a lot of the things that they were doing before. And also, updraft is back to 150 credits. Now, originally, Riot said that this was a bug and it might not be able to be fixed until patch 3.09 because they didn't want to potentially mess something else up, but they sent it through anyways. It looks like they actually could push it through without it messing anything else up. That being said, it's really controversial whether or not this Jett nerf should have stayed in the game or not. We recently covered the fact that Tens was vocal about the nerf being a good nerf for Jett. A lot of other players are really talking about how this really punishes a Jett for being aggressive. No longer can she do things like fly over rooftops or dash in aggressively with knives and just 100% get a kill without enemies being able to flick and kill them before you get to pull out a gun on Jett or pull out your knives. So a lot of people really thought that this should actually stick. And I do 100% agree that there should be a buff towards Jett, but I have two big problems. First off, it should not be like a bug testing phase thing that they kind of throw to kind of reel back. That just doesn't really seem like the way that you should nerf a character. And two, this is really not the nerf that you need if you want Jett to not be S tier, because while this is definitely a nerf that makes Jett a little bit less aggressive, it doesn't change her place in the meta and her power level, because that's really not why Jett is so strong in the first place. Jett has a number of things working for her, but the biggest is the defensive dash. You can challenge an angle and you can get out of that angle, and then you get a basically another shot at life and you're not getting caught out positionally. This means that the number of safe positions that you can hold is far more, and the amount of impact you can have over the course of even a single round is also far more, considering you can also get your Jett back over the course of a round if you get several kills. Add on to the fact that the operator itself is best in the hands of Jett, and you have a character that is just really powerful, and unless you actually specifically target the defensive dash, that's not going to change. Now, there's other arguments that the operator is part of the problem because it's so clunky to use that using it on any other character besides Jett is basically suicide. It's not great to do, and a lot of people would rather the operator be more similar to CSGO. While I definitely think that that might be a viable option, the problem with it is, in the current state of Valorant, the operator is just too strong if it was at that power level. Other abilities would need to be buffed. The game as a whole would need to be changed in a certain way that would facilitate a very powerful op. Because if you remember back when the op was 4,500 credits and it didn't have all these nerfs attached to it, the operator was just way too strong and way too dominant in the meta. And if you made an operator even stronger than that, it would just be completely ridiculous. Not to mention, Jett would still probably use it better than anything. So that might end up being a buff to Jett, even if you make the operator more useful for a lot of other agents. Definitely something that they would have to visit the drawing board, think about the context of the operator in the meta as a whole, and maybe buff a lot of operator counters if you wanted to go that route. I honestly think the best way to nerf Jett is targeting that defensive dash, like I said. And some people say, hey, Jett should only be able to dash in the direction she's facing. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be a great change. It does keep the offensive Jett intact, which is good, but a lot of good Jetts are going to be able to still like use that dash to get away. They're going to be able to flick to the right, flick to the left. And honestly, it's going to feel really clunky. I personally think that the best change that you could do is have a soft charge for dash. So we know the current distance of a dash right now. What we should do is, if you tapped dash, you would go very little distance, like even maybe even like a foot, like you're just barely moving. Sure, you could just tap the dash and dash like you normally did, but you're only moving very, very little. So if enemies are in any position to chase you, or you're too far out in an off angle, you're not gonna actually get out of the LOS. So you could hold an angle, like a really tight angle, and then dash away, but it's a lot easier for enemies to pre-aim that because you're not playing like a really obscure off angle in the middle of something while still having the ability to dash away. And then you could have it to where, like, if you hold it down, it would like charge up, and that could be a cool animation where you're like charging the wind or something like that, or the wind is moving underneath you and getting like faster, and then you would push and go really far in the direction the longer you charge it. And you could balance this in a way to make Jett still like compromised as a character, to make it so when it's fully charged, maybe it goes even further than the old Jett dash does. So you could go really far, aggressively dash through the site, but it takes a big charge up, there's a sound involved, and that could just be a way that you no longer can abuse that defensive dash while still adding some other options to the character, still giving you that slight opportunity to get a little bit of boost of movement when you need it. And it can be used in other ways if you're only moving like a foot to the right or foot to the left. If you're like in combat, you could definitely use it in combined with other movement to actually just mess up enemies dueling you and things like that. So I think that that is probably the best type of nerf that I would give to Jett if it was up to me. But I really want to move on to your opinion. How would you nerf Jett in a way that makes her no longer so oppressive, but at the same time doesn't ruin the core identity of the character, still makes her fun to play, still makes her a core member of the roster, and doesn't remove what makes her so special in the game of Valorant? Because I think Jett kind of embodies what Valorant is all about in a sense. And if you just completely change her, I don't think that that is the best for the future of Valorant personally, but I want to know your opinion about that as well. Go to the GameLeap website right now if you want in-depth tips, tricks, VOD reviews, map guides. We got everything you possibly need to dominate the ranks of Valorant, so go check it out right now down below. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for coming by. I love your faces, and I'll see you next time.